I want to thank Sky News. I want to thank Sky News for giving us an angle to cover a story that we didn't think we were going to be able to cover, at least not on the YouTube side, because the imagery and video is too horrific for this platform. But we're, of course, talking about the UK has announced sanctions against several Iranian senior military figures and organizations following Iran's multiple rocket attack on Israel on 1st October. That's the breaking headline from Sky News, and you would think that the image underneath that is of the Iranian rocket attack on Israel on October 1st, except, wait a minute, that's not what that picture is of. No. Community note, the picture is not of Iran's multiple rocket attacks, it's actually of an Israeli airstrike on a hospital tent camp in Gaza, as shown within the Sky News link, based on a photo from Reuters. So I
have no way to prove this, but that was a based intern who did that.
You think so?
I think that was sabotage.
Sabotage? Yeah, because look at that. Look at that.
Like, what are the odds? What are the odds of them making that mistake when this just happened? You're not talking this happened 2 years ago and they got it mixed up. This just happened. This is the big story. And who do you think does this? That's like bottom of the totem pole. Like, they probably literally have an intern who has to do the formatting.
Maybe Jake works for Sky News and he did it.
Maybe.
But that's the photo of an airstrike, an Israeli airstrike that struck a field hospital. Gaza's Al-Aqsa Hospital burns tents, killing at least 4. So this is from the Washington Post. And if you see this photo, clearly is of the same place that this photo is of, which was misrepresented as the Iranian strike. Now, the Iranian strike killed no one. The Israeli strike killed 4, injured many more. We hope none of the injured have since died. But, of course, if you were on Twitter the other night, you saw images of this that are haunting even by these new standards that have been set this past year. Stuff that we can't show you here, which is why I didn't think we were going to be able to cover this here. Photos of a young man. Some say it was a child. We can't confirm that because it was difficult to tell how old he could have been, because this man was engulfed in flame in this field hospital, and you could see very, very clearly his arm hooked up to an IV. A guy laying in bed on an IV in a makeshift field hospital because the actual hospital is no longer able to function as it once was.
Yeah.
And a missile hits it. You could watch the video on X as well of the missile striking. We're not allowed to show that either here. You could see all this happen, and the photo and the video captured, like I said, haunting even by these standards. This is literal hell on earth. People with IVs hooked into their arms being burnt alive. An Israeli airstrike on a hospital compound in central Gaza early Monday sent flames ripping through tents housing displaced people, killing at least 4 and injuring dozens. Videos from the scene appeared to show one man being burned alive as bystanders could do little but watch. The Israeli military said the target of the strike was a Hamas command center on the premises of Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in the Deir al-Balah area. The site was filled with families in tents who had fled fighting elsewhere. The majority of those injured from the overnight strike and ensuing fire, many seriously, were women and children, according to Gaza health officials. The Gaza Health Ministry said 4 people were killed, but Fahd Haddad, the head of Al-Aqsa Hospital's emergency department, put the death toll at 5. So here, once again, is Sky News showing an Israeli strike, presenting it as an Iranian one. Alan McLeod. Hey, Sky News, you probably shouldn't use an image of an Israeli attack on Gaza to illustrate an Iranian strike on Israel. Waleed Mohammed, Sky News uses a photo of Palestinians being burned alive yesterday by Israel. Sky News seems to want to send the message that we know the truth, but we can't speak it. Well, that's Russell's theory, that it was an intern who did that as a subversion. John Dickinson, who's a fan of the show, shame on you, Sky News. The images coming out of northern Gaza today are some of the most horrible I've ever seen. I second that. Yes, they are. They deserve full attention around the world as some of the most horrific war crimes in modern times. And the best you can do is misattribute these images to an unrelated matter. Low. Yeah, I reposted the image of the guy with the IV in his arm. Yeah. And I said, and like I said, I can't show you the tweet here on YouTube because it has the image. But I said, imagine looking at this and saying with a straight face, Trump will be worse.
Right.
Imagine
that. How you can't kill people twice.
Right. I'm not going to say he'll be better. That would be dishonest as well. But you can't look at this and say he'll be worse. I mean, the images here, it's a little weird talking about it here since we can't show you, but find them if you want. I can't advise you to. They're really hard to take, but if you have the stomach for it, maybe seek them out. You know, I just filed my taxes yesterday because I had the 6-month extension. And man, to hit file and send these scumbags money when this is what they're doing with it, it's a truly evil state we have turned into. Forget about Israel. We know about that. The fact that almost everyone, to a person in your government, supports this, it really, like I said, I'm going to try not to black pill everyone this afternoon, but it really shows this country for what it is. There's no unseeing that. There's no unthinking that, in my opinion.
Well, there's such a disconnect between the public and
that's what I mean. A state as a state
and
yes.
the state.
Yeah.
Most people are not for this. The majority of people, even the majority of Republicans at this point, are not for this. It's just there's been a complete breakdown in this democratic experiment. The money ate the state, and now you could choose Coke or you could choose Pepsi. No 7-Up.
Right. Yep. That's true.
Please clap.